All right. Hey, everybody. This is Angie. And today I am talking with Michael Cochren with Cochren Company. You kind of just popped up and said,
Yeah.
here I am. This song was one day on the radio called Church, in case anybody's wanting to know what he sings. So tell me, you're with Goatee Records, which is the famous Toby Mac.
Yeah. It's been a crazy whirlwind of a past year and especially a past 6 months, really. I signed with Goatee in August, I think it was, of 2018. And we went to the studio right afterwards and put a single out to radio, first of the year, and radio stations played it, which is awesome. Awesome. And it's every day I'm just blown away. It doesn't feel like real life.
How in the world did you hook up with Toby Mac?
That's a great question. So I have been doing music independently under a couple different names, Cochren Company, for the past 5 years. Regionally, I live in Indiana, Southern Indiana, and so we had kind of built it up to where we were asked to open for most national groups that came through the area. And so we were opening for Ryan Stevenson. And
yeah,
2 shows in a row. His management was at both of those. And they pulled me off to the side and we talked a little bit, and they said, "Hey, when are you in Nashville next? We'd love to chat."
Hang on.
And yeah.
I'm doing an interview. He's moving furniture. Look at him.
I love it. It would have been a lot funnier if you didn't address it, if you just floated in.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
What? I am doing the interview. Oh, cool. So funny.
Oh, cool.
What goes on at Shine FM.
Behind the scenes. I love it. I feel like I need to have some people moving behind me or something,
Every once in a while I have coworkers that'll just do something crazy in the background. So it's a normal thing around here. We have all kinds of fun.
That's awesome.
Well, anyway, I'm sure people are going to enjoy that part of the video.
It's a good tension breaker. Yeah, it's a good icebreaker. My nerves are gone now, so that's great.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any nerves. Come on, you've been doing this for a while. So 2 things. First of all, Ryan Stevenson is fantastic. So that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that kind of helped you make that connection.
Yeah, it was cool. So I met his management, and then they brought me to town, and we started talking, and I just shared with them my heart for ministry and for music and what my goals were. And they loved it. And they were like, "We want to work with you. And we really think there's something here." And I was like, awesome. And so they started sending things out to labels, and we met with just about everyone in town. And I had a set up through another label with a guy named Brian Fowler, who's a producer, produced I Just Need You for Toby, Eye of the Storm for Ryan, and a lot of things. And so I brought a song to him called Church. And I said, "Hey, there's something here. Maybe I'd like to work it with you if you're up for it." And he was like, "Absolutely. Let's write that song today." He wrote it. He sent it to Toby, and Toby came to the studio the next day and was like, "We want to work with you." And I was like, it was a blur at that point in time. Brian was like, "I think Toby's going to come to the studio." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He said it in a way that's kind of nonchalant, almost like he was joking. I was like, "Oh yeah, haha, that's funny. That'd be great." And then all of a sudden I see this guy with a fedora get out of a car, come into the studio, and I was
it's Toby Mac.
That's Toby Mac,
Love it. I love it.
And talking with him, he's so down to earth, and he just wanted to hear my heart. And I shared with him where the song came from and my heart for the church and how I serve the local church I'm at here in Indiana still. And people is what it's all about. And that just resonated with him, and he loved it. He was like, "I love your heart. I love the sound that you're creating. I think it's unique, and I want to be a part of it." And I was like, "Let me pray about it." That's amazing.
Would you mind sharing that with us? You've said a couple times what your heart is. So What is your heart, and why are you doing this?
Absolutely. So the song really wraps up a lot of my story, but I was raised in a Christian home, and I experienced that upbringing. But then I also experienced in high school what it's like to walk away from that and to live on your own and to live the way that you feel like is best. And really just the way that the world is pushing constantly 24/7 all the time, which is just living for self and living for the things that we think are going to make us happy. And I've experienced firsthand how that just never fails to let you down. And so my heart goes out to people who maybe are there, or people who are in the church but are just cold to it, but also people who are outside of the church and don't know any of it and don't know the hope of Jesus in this world that has no hope. I mean, you just turn on the TV for 5 seconds and you see there's no hope, and people are starving for it. And that's my heart. And I come from a really small town area, and I think serving in the church, I've been at the same church for 7 years, and I get to see day in and day out, like the real lives of real people and what they're really struggling with, and what their hurts are, and what their dreams are and their hopes are. And I just want to make music that speaks to them where they're at, and kind of has that language of maybe a little bit of an outsider. And I hope I'm maybe doing that some.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. And so the song Church, how did that come about?
So I had just started my 7th year at the church, and I was doing some work on the stage here, like rewiring stuff. And I was just thinking about how crazy it was that I worked here, that I got to do this and making music. And I was thinking that it was just God's hand of grace over my life completely, because there really was, like the first line of the song. I mean, I really swore at one point in time that I would never attend a church service again, that I just did not need it. And I didn't want to disrespect my grandparents or my parents because it was important to them, but I just didn't see the importance of it. I just didn't think I needed that in my life. And so to know that that's my attitude at one point in time, and what God brought me through, and just all the steps that he brought me through, and how he used the church and people, just ordinary people, that were being faithful to him to minister to me in my life and to call me back. I just was overwhelmed with gratitude, and I wanted to write about it. I didn't know what I wanted to say. I just knew that I wanted to lift the church up and talk about how beautiful it was, and hopefully encourage people who maybe are separated from it to give it another try and to experience that fellowship that Jesus tells us we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I even had a conversation with a gentleman one time, and he said, "You're my church. I don't believe in the organized church anymore." And he goes, "I listen to you, and this is church for me." And
Yeah.
I was shocked. But yeah, there's a lot of people who've experienced something and have walked away, but it's so important to be together.
Yeah. You know, I just had a show in Michigan last weekend, and I talked about that very thing, that the church is so not perfect, you know, because it's made up of people that are not perfect. And so it's just a bunch of not perfect people getting together. But I really think that the church is not for perfect people. It's for broken people who know that they need a perfect savior. And I think when we can get that in our hearts and our minds, and know how much grace Jesus extends to us, maybe we're able then to extend grace to those who have hurt us in the church, and to those who have not been doing the right things. But I do think that when the church is getting it right, though, there's just nothing more beautiful, you know, than a body of believers just united and bearing each other's burdens. And yeah.
I had somebody tell me one time that they didn't want to go to church because it was full of a bunch of hypocrites. And I said, "Yeah, come on."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We all need to be there, you know, and none of us are as good as what we'd like to be. And so on some level, we're all hypocrites, you know, and, but there's no better place to be if that's what you are, because there's no other place in the world that's going to be speaking truth to you. And a biblical church should be one that is calling that out, you know, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully you're not comfortable in those seats. Hopefully you're being challenged.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So you live in you said in Indiana, Southern Indiana?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you travel down to Nashville all the time and try to get some work done?
Yes, all the time. I'm there. It seems like I'm there a couple days a week on average, just writing and meeting and or loading up to go play a show somewhere. So yeah. I've got that 3.5 hour drive down pat.
Yeah, it's a travel, but I know that you're still committed to your local church. You're going to stay there for a while, or do you not know?
Yeah, I really would love to. Obviously, God's going to do what he's going to do. But I love it here. I love the church. We've got a lot of great relationships here. And then there's just something about a small town for me. I just love it. I love being able to go in somewhere and seeing the same faces and knowing the same people.
Yep.
It's cool. And traffic's a little bit better here than it is in Nashville.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, we're a radio station full of small towns all put together.
Awesome. Awesome.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. We
okay.
don't have to fight a lot of traffic, just mainly buggies. We got a lot of Amish here.
Yeah, here too.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, if you know that there's a horse on the road, you see little apples in the road all the
Apples. I love it.
Okay, so I was stalking you on Instagram the other day, and
Okay.
you got to sit down at a piano and you got
Yes.
to play the song Desperado. Tell me about that experience.
That was awesome. So they had told me about the studio before we got there. And so I just a backstory. I went to Aspen, Colorado 2 weeks ago for a writer's retreat. And it was at a studio that Jimmy Buffett built and then Glenn Fry bought and owned for several years. And there's this Bluthner piano, a baby grand that they had there from 1885. And it's so old that it won't tune up to standard 440 tuning. It has to be at like 432 or something.
Oh my
So you
gosh.
can't really play a guitar with it. So it's just there. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to play anything on this piano, it's got to be an Eagles song. And what better Eagles song to play on the piano than Desperado? So I sat down to play it, and it just felt magical, like playing that there. And I know it's the most cliche thing to do, and I'm sure like hundreds of people that have visited there have done the exact same thing. But to me, it felt special. And to me, I was like, I have to do this. I have to sing this song here. It was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would have picked Heartache Tonight, but then again, that's really just
great.
drums.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about projects. Do you have an album out now?
We don't have an album. We put out 2 singles at the first of the year, which was Church, Take Me Back, and Grave. And we are about to release a song next month that's just a single for the summer. It's called I Got You, and it's got a really, really unique kind of a Motown feel to it. So I'm really, really excited for people to hear that. But we are working towards an album, writing constantly, recording more stuff, hoping to put out a couple more songs this fall. So.
Okay, so you have all these different genre type crossover things going on. You talked about Motown. You're obviously an Eagles fan. So yeah, your music has this completely different kind of sound. So like, who are some of your other influences?
Yeah, so my dad raised me on 60s, 70s singer-songwriter stuff. Billy Joel, Jackson Brown, and then like Creedence Clearwater Revival, and then Motown stuff and Stevie Wonder and all of that. And then my mom was always listening to a radio program in the evenings called The Delilah Show.
Oh, yes.
And so that we always heard Michael McDonald, Michael Bolton, Aaron Neville, all of those, Savage Garden, like those groups, And then when I got into elementary school, I discovered NSYNC, which was huge for me. I used to dance in front of the mirror and sing NSYNC songs. And in my brain, I looked and moved just like Justin Timberlake.
Of course.
And my mom didn't have the heart to tell me that was not accurate. And so all of that just kind of melting potted, I guess. And my grandparents were always listening to Southern gospel and the Gaithers and the Cathedrals, and all of that, I guess, just melted together into an eclectic soul sound, I guess. I love it all.
I'm assuming this is how you do worship as well.
Yeah, it manifests itself that way, definitely.
That would be very cool.
We may do a Hillsong song, but it's going to sound a little bit more soulful probably.
Okay, so it says Cochren and Company. Who's the company?
The company, most of the time, is a group of people that I've played with for a couple of years. My wife, Leah, she plays and sings with me. And so I guess she's kind of Cochren too, but she's my company as well. And I've got a drummer named Jake and a bass player named Michael and a guitar player named Tanner. And we go out in a number of different configurations. So sometimes we'll take the full band out if that's what a promoter is wanting, or sometimes it'll be like a trio of us, me and drummer and my wife Leah, or sometimes like on the Toby Theater tour last fall, it was just me solo. And I told the audience that I was Cochren and they were my company for the night.
I do that too. I'm Angie and friends, and I'm
There we
Angie,
go.
and
Yep, they're the
friends.
friends. Love it. Love it.
Okay, so we're going to go back to some of the things about you.
Yeah.
For instance, favorite hobbies.
Golf. I'm actually
Really?
playing tonight. Yeah, super excited about that. I'm going to go play for the first time of the year tonight. Yeah.
Don't seem to me like a golfer.
I'm not a good golfer, but I love to play golf.
You have the special shoes and everything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the shoes.
Oh, you're hardcore.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm hardcore, but I like to play.
I think they have a benefit golf thing every year. Somebody does in the music industry. Who is that? Somebody always has a benefit golf. Who?
Need to Breathe always has one.
Ah, that must be who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love golf. I love watching baseball. I'm a big St. Louis Cardinals fan.
Okay.
Let's see. And I love playing music as a hobby. I mean, I'll just play for fun, even when there's nothing at stake. I just play in my house just to play.
Yeah, and this is your music room, I'm assuming.
Yeah, this is my office. Actually, I'm at the church this morning. The internet's better here, so I'll be here.
That's why I'm at the office.
There you go.
All right. So, when you tell me about your family, tell me about your wife and.
Yeah, my wife. I met her at a concert that I was headlining in 2013. She was an opener for the concert, and I walked in the back hallway where we were loading in, and I just heard her sound checking, and I was just completely joking. I nudged my guitar player and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna marry her." And I met her that night, and we hit it off, and I'm a man of my word, I guess. We got married.
So she's a singer.
She's a singer. Yeah. Singer and piano player. I always tell her she completes me because I learned how to play piano by ear. I actually drove my teachers nuts because I wouldn't practice. I wouldn't learn music. And so they kind of told my mom, "You're wasting your time. He's just not going to get it." But my wife was classically trained. She could sight read anything. And so there'll be times where I'm like, "Hey, can you tell me how to, like, what does this mean here on this music?" She'll just come right over and zippity zip. She just knows it. We met there and we got married in 2015. So we've been married almost 4 years. And we live, like I said, in a small town. And she teaches school at a school there in our town. She teaches elementary music and middle and high school choir. It's a small enough school where she does all of them. And it's like less than half a mile from our house. And it's
back to that small town thing.
Small town thing, yeah. And we have a dog. We don't have any kids, but we have a dog. Her name is Lucy, and she is an Irish setter. Kid. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fur baby, as people call it. Yeah. She's an Irish setter, golden retriever, and she is hilarious.
Lucy, huh?
Yeah. After Lucille Ball, because she's got red hair. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love Lucy. Yeah.
All right. There was something that you said earlier, and I keep wanting to come back to it, and now I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm so interested in what you're saying that I forget the questions I need to ask. Oh my gosh. We started off with Ryan Stevenson. We started off with your music career. Oh, one of the things that you said that I wanted to make sure people hear, especially people who want to get into the industry, is you've been doing this a long time, and it's not something that happens overnight.
Right. Yeah. It can kind of seem that way to a listener because one minute they've never heard of me and the next minute it's on their radio station and they're like, yes. Wow.
That's exactly what happened.
Overnight success. And it's like, things did move really fast. And I didn't realize how fast they were moving. People just told me because I don't know what's normal. But I've been doing it on my own since 2011 and just grinding it out and trying to call up places to play and booking. And for every 20 phone calls you make, you might get 2 phone calls returned. And of those 2, only one of them is going to be interested in having you. That's just the reality. And, but once, because I fought tooth and nail so hard to get my music in front of labels in Nashville for years. and doors just wouldn't open. Doors wouldn't open. Doors wouldn't open. I don't know how many trips I made back from Nashville to Indiana, just feeling totally defeated. But then a couple years ago, I came to a place where I was like, God, I am tired of my emotions being wrapped up around this desire of mine, to where if something good happens, I'm happy. If something bad happens, I'm miserable. So I just give it all to you. I'm just going to serve faithfully. I'm just going to write music that I feel like people need to hear. And I'm just putting it all into your hands to do what you want to do with it. And a year and a half later, I'm meeting people that I didn't think I would meet. And it's just God's timing, really. And he's going to do what he's going to do. And he opened doors that I could never have imagined would be opened. It's pretty incredible. And
when it's his timing, it does move fast.
It does. Yeah. So I signed on like I said, in August. And typically, especially Goatee, in the past, what they've done is they'll develop an artist for 2 or 3 years before they put anything out. And they were just like, I think your stuff's ready. I think you're ready to go. Boom, here we go. 2 months later, I was in the studio. Another month later, it's out. Another month later, radio stations are playing it. And I was like, and to me, at times I felt like, well, finally, like this took forever. But then I realized how fast it was actually happening. And then I was holding on to my seat, white knuckle, like, ah.
So when do you plan on having a project out?
I think we're shooting for sometime in the beginning of next year. I think. Okay. So if my label's listening, they may be like, that's not true. I don't know. But I think that's what I think that's the plan.
Okay. All right. If you were to take out your iPod right now, tell me 3 songs that are like on repeat for you. And it can be any style or whoever's. It could be even outside the Christian genre. I don't care. But three songs that are like on your repeat.
Okay. I'll just go to my searches here.
Okay.
I listened to, so my most played recently has been the Eagles. But it's been Take It Easy.
Yep.
By the Eagles. Yeah. And then a song that is called The Way by Pat Barrett.
Oh.
I listen to that all the time right now. And then I just Bear Reinhardt just put out a new project yesterday under a different name called Wilder Woods. I've been listening to that on repeat like the past day. So that would be the 3 right now.
That's cool. That's very cool. It's interesting you talked about The Way with Pat Barrett, which I love that song. I've been listening to it since House Fires.
Oh, yeah.
And when I met Pat Barrett back in February, I said, okay, dude, what does this bridge mean? Because if you got fear and doubt, why are you inviting him along? Like, don't invite him. And he goes, no, some days I can't beat it. I'm just taking him to the foot of the cross with me. And I went, oh, I love that.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, you don't have to clean yourself up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Bring that crap with you if you can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
He says some days you just can't shake it, so you just bring it.
That's great. That's great.
And I hadn't heard about the Bear Reinhardt one, but I want to suggest to you the new Stars Go Dim one.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah. That new album is called Better. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I know he took some time off and all, and when he came back, I thought he came back really, really great.
Awesome. Yeah, he's so talented. We've played with him before. Yeah, Chris is great.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. On the Goatee label, who's your favorite?
Oh, gosh.
There's a lot.
Cochren Company.
There you go. You just got you got from under the bus.
When in doubt, just be arrogant,
or say Toby Mac.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, yeah.
I know it sounds like you've got a really great thing going. It's really fantastic. You got on his label and it sounds like things are really moving quickly. Tell me something that you would encourage other people with, just something you want to leave with folks today.
Yeah, I would encourage people to just stay in community with others. I think that that's so important. I just so think that we weren't meant to live this life by ourselves. We weren't meant to isolate, and the enemy wants us to do that. And so if we can just stay around people and stay open and stay honest and just keep allowing people to love us and to love them, I just think our lives are going to be a lot more joy-filled.
That's fantastic. So this is fantastic as well. This whole conversation, getting to know you a little better, getting to know your music. Now when we listen to church, we have a little bit of background behind it.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's fantastic. And hopefully we'll see you sometime when you come through Ohio.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be great. Thanks so much for having me on.
You're not that far away.
Yeah. Where is your station at?
We're a little bit northwest of central Ohio, of Columbus.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we're probably 3 hours from where you're at.
Okay. Awesome.
Quick trip. Come on over.
Yeah, that's right. Just a quick little jaunt over there. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time today, Michael.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Tell people how they can get a hold of you on social media and on the web.
Yeah. So my social handle is Cochren Music, Cochren Music. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. So yeah, come follow me and let's hang out together.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
See ya.
See ya.